Good morning.
Good morning.
A little bit off topic. I know you're friends with Quinn and Bobby Wilkerson and Scott May and those guys, but last night with USC and Baylor losing, there's no more undefeated teams. And 46 years later, what are your thoughts or on the legacy of that team?
Well, I know records are meant to be broken, but that's one record I would never want to see broken. Scott May and I talk about it all the time. Every year that we get ready for college basketball, and teams start their season and they are, 10-0, 13-0. I always call it back. I say, Scott, don't sweat. We're going to be just fine. The record will be at that. So, no, I just for selfish reasons alone, I hope that record never gets broken.
Alex Bowser.
Hey, Mike, hope you're doing well. You said early on that when you were working with this team defensively that you did things like have drills where guys couldn't switch to help them stay in front of their man. I'm curious what other things defensively you worked on, emphasized early on that you think maybe helped as building blocks to get this team where it is right now defensively?
Well, I think when you put a system in place defensively, first of all, you just got to get guys to commit and buy in. And I'm not saying that our defense and our system is the best defense, out there. It's just what I believe in. And no matter who you coach or what team it is, you got to get players to buy into what you're doing. And they bought in early on. Yes, my deal was, hey, take pride in guarding the ball. Don't be begging for help all the time. And they've kind of bought into that. And the team aspect of it, when somebody gets beat, you got to always have help. And that guy that helps you's got to have help. It's like a chain reaction defensively. And, we've been pretty good in that area as well. And then once that ball goes up, everybody's got to rebound the ball. And, we haven't gotten out rebounded in very many games. So that's a major plus because it goes hand in hand with defending the basketball. You got to come up with the rebound once it goes up.
Alec Lastly.
Hey, Coach, we've obviously talked a lot about where this defense is throughout this point of this season, but offensively, you guys have really started to click over the past few games. Are there kind of one or two areas of improvement you've seen this offense take here in the past few weeks?
Well, I think our ball movement has been a lot better. I thought the Minnesota game forced us to have to take more threes based on how they defended us inside with Trace and Race. But, the ball movement and not turning it over, that's been, a big key. We're not getting the greatest shots, but we're getting shots. And that's important when you're talking about executing offense. Now, I think the next step for us is just knowing where the shots are coming from and trying to get a better, a good shot, maybe turn it into a great shot. That's the next key, I think.
Justin.
Hey, Mike. Obviously, you dealing with Iowa means dealing with Keegan Murray. Just what's impressed you about him on tape so far, and what do you feel like is the best way to and try to go about guarding that guy?
Well, again, we're sitting here with 2 days to go to try to put a solid game plan together because he's really a good player, man. He leads the Big Ten in scoring, and there's nothing he can't do on the basketball floor. And that's on both ends. He's long and rangy, man. I like everything about it, but he's got a nice supporting cast too. So, it's going to take a total team effort for 40 minutes to commit ourselves to playing defense. This is the number one offensive pace team in the country in terms of getting up and down the floor, making plays offensively. They don't, you score against them, they throw it right back in and they right back at you. So, we got to make sure transition our transition defense is on par, that we're getting matched to 3-point shooters and not giving nothing up over the top. That's going to be the key.
Mike Schumann.
Yeah, coach, that goes right into my question. I was going to ask you kind of throughout the course of your career, what are kind of some of the keys or tricks you picked up to kind of slow a team that likes to run so much?
Well, again, I mean, everybody likes to run. I mean, the bottom line is if we can get them to take the ball out of bounds, that means we're making shots. And then hopefully we can get back and get our defense set before they get to us. But, we got to control the ball. I mean, if that ball is inbounded, we got to try to get to it early, and we can't let it come up the sideline very, very quickly. I mean, that's how fast breaks are started. You throw it in and you advance the ball up the sideline, or you throw it up and make gut passes, and we got to eliminate those.
Charlie Clifford.
Mike, in the spirit of the Indy High School Hoops City Tournament, which tips next week, what did Bill Smith do for you in your life, and any memories you have of lacing him up in that tournament back in the day?
Well, that was, I played in the city tournaments, man. That was some of the best talent when I was coming through. I don't know what it is like now because, again, basketball has changed so much. But when I was coming through, Arlington, Shortridge, Tech, Ripple, all Christmas Addicts. It was just so much talent in the city, Shortridge. So much talent. And everybody had to beat up on each other to get through that city tournament, man. And I remember one year when I was a sophomore, I lost the city tournament for the varsity. Shouldn't even have been in the game. But Smitty put me in at the end, and I threw the ball away, cross-court pass that led to a layup that ended up losing the city tournament. And, that was tough. I had to live with that for the next year, that summer, going through that summer. And then my junior year, we were beat early, the second game of the city tournament. And then my senior year, we went to the championship game of the city and lost to Northwestern, who was stacked as well. Their team was really good, and they beat us in a close game for the championship. But, the city tournament is, as I can remember, was always great, man. A lot of talent, a lot of good play.
Quickly on Coach Smith, just his impact on you, if you don't mind.
Man, listen, he kind of set the table very early on before I actually got to Indiana in terms of what basketball should be like on the basketball floor and what you should do off the floor. And Smitty was hard, man. There was no messing around with him. He left no doubt that who was the coach. He's very disciplinarian. And most of the time he got guys to buy into what he was doing. And I just thought it set the table. So when I got here to Indiana, I was already ready from a discipline standpoint, and Knight just kind of revved it up 10 notches because he was a lot more tougher. And, I was mentally and physically ready to deal with it. And I thought I handled it pretty well.
Mike Pegram.
Hey, Coach, Iowa might play a little bit of zone against you guys. How well do you think you've done against zone so far this year? What will be the keys on Thursday?
Well, I'm sure they will play some zone. They do a lot of different things in their zone. They full court, they 3/4 court, they half court, press, they play half court zone, matchup zones. They do it all. And I think we've seen a little bit of it all year. So we just got to be sharp and ready when we see it. That's going to be the key, I think, one of the keys to the game in terms of handling their pressure and getting the ball. But I've always been one when teams press, I want to stay on the attack too. If they want to press, then let's let's attack them offensively. Let's not sit on our heels. So, and we've been pretty good in that area. So I just hope, our good carries over into Iowa, because that's going to be important.
Tom Brew.
Mike, I know you mentioned already that how much Iowa likes to play with pace, but certainly, from your NBA days as well, you've seen a lot where teams who like to play at that kind of pace don't like other teams playing against them that way. And are you kind of hoping that you can move pretty quickly as well too, get the ball at the floor? And certainly when you've been dealing with Rob and Xavier on the floor at the same time, you've been able to get that done a lot more. Do you hope to do more of that on Thursday?
Well, it all depends on what the game presents. I just always been one, when you go in the game, you just got to let it happen. I never predict anything like that. The game is played how it's played. If they force our hands and we got opportunities to push it and score the ball, you got to take advantage of it. And only time will tell, man. I just, I don't know how it's going to turn out, but we just got to go and make ourselves committed to playing for 40 minutes and see what happens.
Last question, committee.
Hey, Coach. Hope you're well. Obviously, turnovers were a big problem early on in the season, but the past 3 games, the team's gone under 10 turnovers each. Have you seen anything from the group in practice maybe that has kind of helped to improve that mark or translate into the game? And going against Iowa, who's second in the Big Ten and forced turnovers, is that any more of an extra focus at all?
Well, I mean, every game, it doesn't matter who we play. Turnovers is a problem for me. And, I just always feel if you're patient enough and you work hard to get open and you sacrifice the ball, you shouldn't turn it over. And I know sometimes teams press and all of that, but if you're being double teamed, that means there's 2 on the ball. And if you get the ball out of there, somebody's open. And then that leads to another guy that possibly is open. You just got to find the pockets to make the right play. So, we've been pretty good. Practices have been pretty good and competitive still. And, every day we stress, from a coaching standpoint, hey, take care of the basketball. And as of late, we've been pretty good in that area. And I just hope it continues the rest of the way.
All right, Coach, thank you.
All right, guys, take care.